do. Scary Nana, good evening. How are you doing? I hope you had a wonderful day today. Thanks for all the work you do for these. Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. It is my pleasure. I really enjoy doing these. Gotta get out the answer key, otherwise we won't have the answers, huh? Let's see, today's 27th. Rihanna, hello, Will. I've been missing your chats and happy to be here tonight. Well, I'm happy you're here too, Rihanna. I cleared Deadwood, like Deadwood the show, or you cleared dead wood off your property. I planted blueberry bushes today. That was my big accomplishment for the day, blueberries. All right, bump the microphone there. Probably a little bit of a loud sound, huh? Off the property, sounds good. Blueberries. We have other blueberry bushes, but the wife wanted to get a different variety, so we always buy them in twos. So I planted them out front. It was kind of a I wanted to put them in really big pots that we had, but it didn't turn out that way. One of the pots that I wanted to put in had a big crack in it, so I was like, it looks foolish to put one in a pot and one in the ground. So I just planted them both next to each other, next to the walkway path, I guess you'd call it. I love blueberries most of all berries. Used to pick gooseberries when I was a kid. Gooseberries. I haven't had gooseberries in a while. But these are a different variety of blueberry than we normally get. I can't remember what kind they are. And like me, I threw away the tag, so I probably don't even, wife might know what variety they are. But I know they're supposed to be as sweet, but they're supposed to be a bigger blueberry. So there's some kind of hybrid. But I planted them and got them all in the ground. Had to mix in the acidic potting soil, like well, not potting soil, but acidic soil for them that we bought, and I mixed that and peat moss and stuff like that together, so it retains more water in the soil. I like to try the smaller varieties. Top blueberries, I forget the varieties. Yeah, so many varieties, Rihanna, so many. But so we have now we have cherry, um, fig, blueberries, and of course we have strawberries. They just come back every year. But the strawberries and the mountain berries, they're a white strawberry. We get both of those. We used to have at my mother-in-law's, she has elderberry tree, and we used to have raspberries, but the raspberry bushes all died. So we might get some more. I just don't think we're going to plant them in an above ground bed like the previous people who owned the house before us did. You can be fixed most likely. Your pot can be fixed most likely. Yeah, I don't know if it can. It's probably going to be easier just to buy another one. I mean, it's metal, so where the two metal seams came together, it's split apart. I guess during the winter, so it's easier just to go, get another one. But it's still recyclable. So I flattened it, so I don't think it's going to be able to be fixed. And then it's going to be it's going to the recycling. Hello, Cappy. Well, hope all is well. It is. All is well here. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. Thank you for joining us tonight. Strawberries stop producing very well after 3 to 5 years. Well, I don't know. Sketty Nona, the strawberries that are here, we have an entire above ground bed, and we've had the house now for 3 years, and they don't seem to be stopping anytime soon. There are a lot of them. I don't know. I didn't count them. I mean, how much, but they're all like white right now. Just barely after budding. Starting to fruit. So JB Weld, yeah, it could have JB welded it maybe, or pushed it back together and then hammered it, to try to get the seam, because it looked like there was a hook like this and the other one latched in where the seam was, but it pulled apart and then it pulled the base apart on it. It's a big pot. It was about that big, but about that big around. I gotta turn this gain down. Hold on. You're gonna cover your ears if you're wearing headphones, or take them off for a second. There. I can hear it. I can hear it popping whenever I say bees or peas. They sent out all those new runners. Oh, this entire bed it's 8 feet long by 4 feet wide. We have 6 of them, and that entire bed is nothing but strawberries. That one whole bed. You ain't planting anything else in there because they just keep on producing. And I never do anything to it during, like put hay or anything on it in the wintertime. I just let the frost kill it all off, and then it just reseeds itself. So, Summer Breeze, when will we find you? Nice shirt. You look good. Well, thank you. And thank you for joining us tonight for music trivia. We're going to start here in just a couple of minutes. Just a couple minutes. Good. My son loves strawberries, though. If you find him in the backyard, he'll just plop himself down next to the bed, and he'll sit there and he'll eat them right out of the garden. He likes that. He likes that. And can't really complain. Rather him eating strawberries than some other foods like potato chips or something. Yeah, the strawberries never make it into the house, nor do the sugar snaps out of the garden. My daughter and him will always go out there and always pick the sugar snaps right off the plant and eat them. How old is he? He is 5 years old. That many. Eat that many. That's how he tells me. Or anybody asks him, "How old are you?" He'll go, "This many." Him and his sister are 18 years and 6 months apart. Same wife, same daddy. 18 years and 6 months. Hello, Stephanie Fisher, and good evening to you. Welcome, and Kathy. Oh, Kathy already said hello. Angel fruit cake and strawberries. Ooh, that would be good. Like strawberry shortcake. Take the strawberries, mix them with a little bit of sugar and just a pinch of vanilla, and then some homemade whipped cream. My daughter makes whipped cream from scratch from heavy whipping cream. Oh, it's so good. But yeah, that sounds good. Went ahead and watched the live today from yesterday and made some comments. Ah, your son is 5 and your daughter is 9. Yummy. All right. Well, we're going to get this party started. I hope some other people will be joining us along the way. So, get back to the first page. All right. Welcome to Music Trivia. Tonight's questions have all come from rock, pop, country, R&B. Enjoy tonight's questions. And obviously, classical as well. I know that's kind of repetitive, and I'll fix that next week. I was just working on this earlier. On the international scale, trivia scale, 1 to 10, 10 being the hardest, all questions tonight are between 4.25 and 7.25. And that includes the actual prize question itself is only rated at a 7.25 out of 10. It is not the hardest question that I could pick. It's not as obscure as a lot of people like to think it is. Maryland man, yo, having a red stripe beer. Hooray, beer. Red stripe beer is good. I can't get that in my area. We used to be able to. We had a distributor that used to be able to bring it in. That and Old Style. And those are two of my favorite beers, but we can't get either one of them here now. The distributor that used to carry them no longer is in business here. Oh, didn't know there was an international trivia scale. There is. It's for pub trivia. It's on a scale for pub trivia for different nations and stuff like that. And there are actually conventions and there are international competitions for trivia. Like teams of 5 or 4, and they'll compete against each other all over the country and in the nation. Kind of interesting. You never heard of Red Stripe beer? Oh, and Lane, if you like beer, you don't know what you're missing. All right, first question for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. What weapon lent its name to Joan Baez's album first track released in October of 1960? Was it A, golden dagger, B, golden arrow, C, silver dagger, or D, silver arrow? I remember when my favorite song from my college years was on the classic rock station. I felt old. You felt old then? Tell you a quick little side story, Rihanna. We're sitting in a diner one time with my family, and we're sitting there listening to the music that's playing in the diner. And I'm like, oh man, I remember these songs from when I was in high school. This is great. And then when the waitress, came around to see if we need anything else, and I said, "What station are you guys listening to here?" And she's like, "Oh, this is the oldies station." And I'm like, "Excuse me?" She's like, "Yeah, this is the oldies classic rock station." And I'm like, "Oh, great." So the music I listened to when I was in high school is now on the classic rock station. Excuse me. It might make you feel feel old when the music of your youth from college is on the oldie station. But how about the music from your high school? That definitely made me feel old. The worst part is a lot of the music that I grew up listening to, my daughter doesn't really like. It's like she likes really she likes the 1950s and 60s rock and roll, and then she hates the 70s, 80s, and 90s. She doesn't like that kind of music. But then, then 2000, the music of her youth, and more of adulthood. The olden days are us. Yeah. None of us are getting any younger. None of us are getting any younger. Good evening, Purple. Welcome to Music Trivia. Elaine Daniels, good evening and welcome as well, in case I missed you. All right, question number 1. What weapon lent its name to Joan Baez's album's first track released in October of 1960? The old days were the better than now. I'm going to have to agree with you, Maryland Man. I think the more the technology has come into our lives, and everything is instant at someone's finger, doesn't necessarily make the world a better place. So question number 1, the correct answer is C as in cat, silver dagger. Silver dagger. Question 2, what Sam Cooke song cracked the top 10 in the UK in 1960, then remained in the top 25 charting songs for a record 13 weeks? Was it A, Another Saturday Night, B, You Send Me, C, A Change Is Gonna Come, or D, Chain Gang? What Sam Cooke song cracked the top 10 in the UK in 1960? Good evening, Starfire. Welcome to Music Trivia. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. We got D, 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 D so far. That's the sound of the men working on the chain gang. I will and chat. Good vibes. Good vibes to you as well. Kathy is going with B. You Send Me. Oh, whoops. Elaine is going lean. Eileen. Rocky Road Lady, good evening. Welcome to Music Trivia. Guessing D. Josh should be on a chain gang. Where he's going, he could only hope for a chain gang instead of a different type of chain. He's going to a place that's not going to be a happy camper camp. In case you don't know, they moved his sentencing date from April 5th to the 25th. He gets an entire month, extra month beforehand. We still have to hear the two motions that his defense has filed on it, before we can ever have sentencing. Oh, he's trying to make it his happy camper camp. Too bad he thinks he can get away with everything. Well, his daddy and mommy are going to try to buy him out of it as much as he can. If they can't buy him out of it, they're going to make his life behind bars as comfortable as possible. And there is no slowing down the amount of people who are willing to support the Duggar family and have subscribed and are watching their content, which surprises me. But hey, for Joshy baby, if ever the way these cases go, he's scary. Yeah. All right. So question number 2: what Sam Cooke song cracked the top 10 in the UK in 1960 and then remained in the top 25 charting songs for a record 13 weeks? The correct answer for question 2 is D, as in dog, Chain Gang. In the top 10, it charted as high as number 2 in the UK before settling right around number 7 and then slowly sliding down the scale, but it stayed in the top 25, charting songs for 13 weeks. Sam Cooke. All right, question 3. Howlin' Wolf's blues song, written by Willie Dixon, was originally released by which record label? A. Checkered Records, B. Chess Records, C. Cheese Records, or D. Stax Records? They can try, but they may not successful. I wonder how much his legal fees are going to be though, because we're not when you look at the legal fees, it's not just the lawyers, that he's paying for. It's the investigators, the people who testified, who were paid to testify on his behalf, the experts who fumbled the case and trying to say that it was an outside, person who remotely, accessed the computer, and all that racks up all the time that they had to put into it all. I'm sure they're probably making it, $100 plus an hour. You times that by 2 lawyers, a third one who is working on a case now or consulting. I can't remember how they put that. It's like she's consulting on the case or she's on the case, but she's an appellate attorney. She's just there for the appeals process. Hey, I'm just copying the majority. Don't forget to give the music trivia a thumbs up if you enjoyed tonight's content. Would like to see, get it over 50% tonight. That would be, beneficial. All right, Howlin' Wolf's Blues song, written by Willie Dixon, was originally released by which record label? For question 3, the correct answer is actually B, as in boy, Chess Records. It was released by Chess Records. Checkered Records actually didn't form until years later. Stax was around, but Cheeses was the made up um, option to fill it in. Excuse me. Try not to cough into the microphone. All right. Question 4. Which veteran rock star had a hit in 1988 with Got My Mind Set on You? Was it A, Mick Jagger, B, Ringo Starr, C, George Harrison, or D, Paul McCartney? I know nothing about the 1950s music, by the way. No, I think we're done with the 1960s. Everything else from here is in 80s into the early 90s. So that was it for the older questions. So probably better luck. We'll have better luck with the rest of the questions. But here we are in 1988. Which veteran rock star had a hit in 1988 with Got My Mind Set on You? C, C, B, C, C, C. Janice, good evening. You skipped the best decade for music, the 1970s. I I don't think I skipped it on purpose. It wasn't like I don't plan these or put these in any type of order. So there might be some Maryland Man. There might be some 70s music still. Don't shoot me. Wasn't a Beatle fan. Neither was my mother. Back then my mother was an Elvis fan. She couldn't get enough Elvis. Ain't, sorry if it ain't country, I know nothing. We got some country coming up, Rocky Road Lady. We got some. Or or should I say artists who did both. They did country and they did crossover, music. No way the 80s are the best, says Stephanie. Now, everybody. Play nice. RuPaul! I'll have to agree with you there, Maryland Man. Love me some Sabbath. Sabbath with Ozzy. Yeah, I've got a couple of the Sabbath albums behind me here. Louise, good evening. Elvis was the best. Better than the Beatles. Welcome to Music Trivia, by the way, RuPaul. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Which veteran rock star had a hit in 1988 with Got My Mind Set on You? It wasn't the same when they kicked out Ozzy and replaced him with Ronnie James Dio. I mean, actually, I'm finishing it with just Dio. Way better. I wonder if I'd get copyright matched if I played it. I probably would. That's just the way that YouTube is. Play like 3 seconds of a song. They hear it and they're like, it's playing music that it's not supposed to. Black Sabbath, Paranoid. That's a really young Ozzy Osbourne. What year was this record released? 1970, Warner Brothers. Paranoid came out in 1970. Wow. Don't forget, berries wear boots. Oh, not CBD. Did a test. I got a terrible cold, chest infection since Friday. Oh, I'm sorry, Rupel. Well, I hope you feel better soon. My daughter sings Alice Cooper songs to me. LOL. When she's upset with me, I hear Twisted Sister playing. We're not going to take it. Really? That's so cool. I mean, but I'm sorry she's upset and playing Twisted Sister. You got to watch the documentary about him. D. Snyder, besides his, when he went in front of the House of Representatives and, about the music influence, and the warning labels and all that, that was going on at the time. But in the documentary, learn about he's been doing ever since Twisted Sister pretty much ended and where he's been and what he's been up to. Fascinating guy. Good evening, Reichardt. Welcome to Music Trivia. All right, question number 4. The correct answer is C, George Harrison. George Harrison had a hit song with Got My Mind Set on You. Question 5. True or false? Don't forget Led Zeppelin being totally awesome. Of course, you can't forget Zeppelin Starfire. Was the original title of Def Leppard's song Pour Sugar on Me going to be Pour Some Honey on Me? True or false? Love my Zeppelin. It's a documentary. We will definitely watch it together. Yeah, I do not know the name of it, but I watched it on Netflix a couple of years ago, so I know it was on Netflix. It might still be searchable on there. Don't know this one. He confronted Al Gore when he was a senator because of his wife Tipper Gore was the head of the Parents Music Resource Center, the PMRC. The PMRC went after a lot of musicians. They tried to put Jello Biafra in jail. The entire band of the Butthole Surfers. They went after rap. They went after everybody. Nobody was safe from the PMRC and Tipper Gore and her witch hunt. Don't know this one. So Starfire A. But on the side note, though, after Tipper Gore went after Jello Biafra from the Dead Kennedys, we got the Talking album, the self-spoken album. Alice Cooper is the kindest, nicest rock star my parents' car service ever had. 70s and 80s limo service for Sunshine Promotions. Well, that's cool. Maybe they thought honey would be too sticky. Was the original song by Def Leppard going to be called Pour Some Honey on Me instead of Pour Some Sugar on Me? Honey is sticky. I got a whole bunch of honey. I got my wife is a beekeeper. Actually, right. So she has the business license. I'm the actual beekeeper, but I take care of the bees. I got all kinds of frames, that haven't been processed yet that are still in the freezer. Kathy, good evening. Catherine. Sorry, Catherine. Thank you for joining us tonight. Catherine says true. PMRC starts over the song Sugar Walls by Sheena Easton. That's around the time when we saw musical artists being sued in court after kids killed themselves. Well, those kids in was it in Colorado that killed themselves after listening to a Judas Priest album, supposedly in you played it backwards, told you to kill yourself. Yeah, I believe actually people sat around and tried to play records backwards just so they could, try to hear hidden messages. I never heard of anything, until I never heard of playing a song backwards until then, and I ruined the record needle on my on my record player trying to play a record backwards so I could hear something. It's like if people believe it's there, it must be there, right? It's all crap. Oh wow, I know. What it is, Beepole here in Orlando, California. We get honey from them now. It's good. Here was a Beatles song that said Paul is dead. Yeah. All right. Question number 5. Was the original title for the Def Leppard song Pour Sugar on Me going to be Pour Some Honey on Me? The correct answer to question 5 is false, ladies and gentlemen. This was a rumor that was started by a disgruntled fan member, and when the Def Leppard was actually asked about it, they said it's an urban myth that and that the song was going to have anything to do with honey. And that's the only time that I know of that they actually referred to the actual myth itself. But the correct answer is false. It never was going to have anything to do with honey. We used it all the time just to see if it was true. We used to do it all the time. That was the Columbine, and they were blaming Marilyn Manson. People blame all kinds of stupid stuff or think their actions. All right, question 6. The band, the Jets, played backup for several bands before striking out on their own in the 1980s. Where was the band from? A, Dallas, Texas. B, Boston, Massachusetts. C, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Or D, Bakersfield, California. That's Orlando, California, not Orlando, LOL. And our honey is good. We have a honey museum. Do you? Oh. If you play another one, Bites the Dust backwards, it says it's fun to smoke marijuana. Well, maybe I should play that one backwards. Jennifer, good evening. Welcome to Music Trivia. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. It might be Stephanie. I just copied the question off of the trivia site. It might be Bakersfield and not two separate words, all one word. Brianna's going with C, Minnesota. Yeah. It might be Bakersfield. Because I'm looking at it and I don't recall a Bakerfield. Bakersfield does sound familiar, so big hair is a clue, but it is the 1980s, so Good evening, baby doll, and welcome to Music Trivia. And V as well, welcome. Welcome to Music Trivia. We are on question 6. You should see question 6 on your screen. The band The Jets played backup for several bands before striking out on their own in the 1980s. Where was this band from? Bakersfield, Sincere and Classic. Yeah, the Wells boys. I hope the adoptive parents get the chair. Love music trivia. Where was the band The Jets from? Purple's going with C, Minneapolis, Minnesota. West. The West boys. Yeah. Orrin and Orson West. Those are their adopted names, right? Sincere and Classic. Benny and the Jets. All right, question 6. Where were the Jets, the band, from? The answer is C, as in cat, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Every member of the band was from Minneapolis except for the bass player, who was from St. Paul. But he moved to Minneapolis to join the rest of the band. But they all played in a loft on Hennepin Avenue in downtown Minneapolis. There's actually a placard if you go downtown Minneapolis that says it's the birthplace of the Jets. Me too. I'm enjoying the music trivia. Been missing the other lives. Huh? They're from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Question 7. Taylor Dane should have had more success on the Billboard charts after years of working at it. Which song did she finally break through with? A, I Will Always Love You. B, Send Me a Lover. C, I'll Be Your Shelter. Or D, Prove Your Love. Prince's Neighborhood. Yep. I saw Prince one time in a dive bar in downtown Minneapolis at the 7th Street entry. It's normally a punk or heavy metal bar, and I saw Prince there. He came in and he played with Abylonia before he hit it big. He was from, I believe, Edina. I think that's the suburb that he lived in. But he played, I think 3 songs. Might have been 2. But you could have heard a pin drop from the audience. It was just like everybody was just shocked. It was just like, what in the hell are we listening to? Unfortunately, I did not appreciate the music. And after he left, everybody was just like, did he get lost? Because it's on the corner of 1st and 7th Street. And the 7th Street entry was like a punk and heavy metal bar. And on the 1st Street side was a dance club and other places where you could see band. I mean, you'd get like Guar, and like the bigger touring bands. Anthrax played there, and stuff like that. The bands who would come to Minneapolis to play at the Hubert H. Humphrey Dome, they would, for the Monsters of Rock tour that they had back then, They'd come and play on. Some of them would come and play at the First Street entry, but never on the 7th Street side, because you can only put like I think 70, maybe 80 people on the 7th Street side. My daughter moved to Minneapolis last Saturday, relocated to Florida. Good luck, Skedinona. Good luck to your daughter in Minneapolis. Is she in Minneapolis or is she in one of the suburbs? I hope she's in one of the suburbs. I lived in St. Louis Park, but that's just a stone throw outside of Minneapolis. I mean, you can stand in Minneapolis and throw a stone and literally hit St. Louis Park. It's outside of probably about 6 miles from Lake Hennepin. Man-made lake, by the way. Over 10,000 lakes in the state of Minnesota, and they had to make another one. Thought the answer is tell it to my heart, but that's not an option. Unsafe city. I don't know. There are unsafe cities, and then there are safe cities. I mean, but crime-wise, it's not that Minneapolis is an unsafe area. From what I know, and from my family who still lives there, it's just that what's been going on with the defunding of the police and the recall for reform and everything else within policing, it's made it very hard to get certain crimes like property crimes and stuff like that to be investigated, because they just don't have the manpower to investigate the crimes anymore. So Baltimore is the epitome of unsafe city. It's getting on. I bet she is looking forward to the sunshine. I'll go with A since that's the closest to what I wrote before. Question 7. Taylor Dane should have had more success on the Billboard charts. After years of working at it, which song did she finally break through with? She moved away from Minneapolis to Florida. So I'm thrilled. Oh, I thought you said it was the other way around. Oh, wow. I hope she enjoys Florida. Baltimore has good crab cakes. I think the best crab cakes I ever had were in New Jersey, of all places. The restaurant that we used to go to it's now since been closed, long time. I think it's probably been closed 20 years. It was called Big Mama's. Big Mama's restaurant. It was just a little tiny restaurant. I think it had like 5 tables, or maybe 6, 7 tables, somewhere in that. Small restaurant, but it had the best crab cakes. And she used to bake bread from scratch there every day. It was so good. All right, question 7. Taylor Dane should have had more success in the Billboard charts after years of working at it. Which song did she break through with finally? The correct answer is A, as in apple. I Will Always Love You. I Will Always Love You by Taylor Dane. And incidentally, side note on Taylor Dane, she had 29 songs that hit the Billboard charts, and none of them ever made it into the top 10. And if you know anything about the music industry, the way it's you get a recording contract. It's up to the actual record label to promote you successfully to get you radio play, and that's people have to hear the songs in order to be able to chart, to get the millions record sales, to be end up in the top 10. At least that's how the music industry has been since the 1980s. But Taylor Dane's management company and the record label did very little to ever promote her successfully. And the reason why I Will Always Love You was so successful was because it was picked up by radio shows, that promoted it. Few who were national, like Rick Dees, and Casey Kasem, in case you guys remember those people. But they promoted her song across the nation, and that's what actually drove her record sales, and finally, got her, that breakout hit. All right, question 8: true or false? Was a song "Call Me" by Blondie a #1 hit in the U.S., UK, and in Asia? Was the song "Call Me" by Blondie a #1 hit in the U.S., UK, and Asia? Casey Kasem? I do believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe Lamont went to Casey Kasem's grave. I'm pretty sure he has a video on his channel. Lamont at Large. I'm pretty sure he went to and talked about the Casey Kasem, because there was a humongous legal battle for his estate after he died. His family fought for the last nickel. Or it might be on Fascinating Graves too. It's on one of his 2 channels. I'm pretty sure of it. Was the song "Call Me" by Blondie a #1 hit in the US, UK, and in Asia? A. Well, it looks like everybody's going with A so far for true. I'm sorry, the 2 options are kind of small. I don't know how that happened. Is he the one who said, "Keep your feet on the ground and keep searching, reaching for the stars"? Casey Kasem? I don't know if Casey Kasem said that or not. I just remember, Casey Kasem with the weekly top 40. Used to listen to it on the radio, and then record the top 40. Anybody else ever do that on a cassette tape? Record the, you get, if you timed it right, you could get complete songs on A side before it ended, before you had to take the tape out and flip it over to the B side. I know, kind of hard. I'm dating myself there. Casey had an original sign off at Star Search. Remember doing that? Sure did. Yes, did that all the time. True or false? Was the song "Call Me" by Blondie a #1 hit in the US, UK, and in Asia? All the way. Waited days for your favorite song. Just every week we have the Casey Kasem with the weekly top 40, and then right after Casey Kasem, we had Dr. Demento show. Would come on after the weekly top 40. Purple's going with false. I remember my dad listening to Dr. Demento. I still have the T-shirt that says "Stay Demented." Ed McMahon. That's Ed McMahon was Star Search. You are correct, sir. All right, question 8. The correct answer is A, as in apple, true. It was a #1 hit in the US, UK, and Asia. It one of only 4 songs by Blondie that was a hit in all 3 regions: US, UK, and in Asia. And no, I did not write down the answers or what the other ones were. I was going to, but I forgot to. All right, question 9. Roast them if you want. Milli Vanilli got a raw deal. Since the 1930s, there have been songs by one artist lip synced by others or performed live by others. Which band artist from the list below also won several awards but never offered to give them back like Fab and Rob? Was it A, KC and the Sunshine Band, B, Boney M, C, Status Quo, or D, Bette Midler? Rob and Fab gave back their Grammy for Best New Artist 1 week before the Grammy committee voted to strip them of it. Doing so, the Grammy committee only voted to strip them of their award to publicly humiliate them. It's also the only time in the history of the Grammys that after someone has been stripped of an award that they did not offer it to the next runner up. There was no Best Artist of the Year that year. In music and movies, some of the more popular um, movie soundtracks and musicals that you may know of, that where one artist sang the music and somebody else took credit for it or sang it live. Most of the soundtrack to the West Side Story and The King and I, the music that is on both of those soundtracks, most of that was recorded by what they called a ghost singer. Either the female vocals or the male vocals were sang by somebody else who sounded a lot like the actual artist, but were not them. They never were in the studio to record the music. It's been happening since the 1930s. But who else received several awards but never offered to give them back like Fab and Rob? No, you were right, Stephanie Fisher. It's Casey Kasem, my bad. Hey, says Purple Baby Doll. Hello, that was good. This is fascinating to learn about. Those guys really got a bum deal. They did. Wait until after this question, I'll tell you even more. Even more, Rihanna. There's an entire story about Milli Vanilli and how it all came about. Starfire. Oh, Stephanie. Starfire. No worries. I listened to Casey for years, and I remember he had a very positive sign off. The scene in Bruno where he goes to the psychic to talk to Rob is great. I don't know that. Which one of these artists or bands received several awards and never offered to give them back? I'm interested. I have no idea what the answer is to this question. They said they actually could sing well. Both of them were very talented individuals as singers, songwriters, but they were just starting off in their careers. I'll tell you more after this though. After we're done with this question, I will tell you the rest of it before I go on to the prize question, which is always question 10. Stephanie is going with A. I liked Milli Vanilli. That's Stephanie. All right, the question 9. The correct answer is B as in boy, Boney M. Boney M. You may not want to remember Boney M because most of their music was disco. But Boney M. All right. More about Milli Vanilli and what happened to them. Milli Vanilli both were signed to a recording contract to record music, and they thought, wow, this is going to be, our big shot. We're going to become, major stars in pop, because the producer who signed them had, worked with Boney M. And they knew that, and everybody knew it. And they're like, we're going to pitch this out to a subsidiary, to Elektra Records. You're going to go on tour. You're going to do all this. He signed them to a 3-record contract. Before they actually would go out on tour and do anything else, he gave them a $5,000 advance and said, go out and get hair extensions and remake your look to be more popular for today. They spent that $5,000, got hair extensions and everything else, and then came back to the studio thinking that they were going to record songs there in the studio. The producer then told them, "Oh no, I've already recorded all the songs. The entire album is done. All you need to do is go out on tour and dance and look the part." He did the same exact thing with Boney M. Most of the music and the lyrics, the sound, everything was completely choreographed by this guy. They were screwed. They couldn't get out of the contract that said that they were going to release three records by this guy, and they didn't have the money to pay him back because they'd already spent $5,000. They figured, okay, we'll go through this, we'll make money from touring, pay him back the $5,000, break the contract, and get out of it. But there was an additional clause on top of that where they couldn't get out of the contract if they didn't do the 3-record deal. Now, later on, after both of them had a kind of a troubled life from this, because the world basically chastised them after they're found that they didn't sing the songs. And they said, we can sing the songs, we can do it all, just somebody give us a chance. And they tried to release their own music and stuff like that, and tour as Fab and Rob, but nobody would give them a shot. Their careers and their lives were basically ruined. Now, I believe Fab is still out there today, or maybe it's Rob. One of them is still alive. The other one died of a drug overdose. But the one that's still alive is still out there today, and he's able to sing some of the Milli Vanilli songs, like "Girl, You Know It's True," or one of their most popular ones. But their entire lives were destroyed by this guy, and it's not the first time. He did this to Boney M as well. But he refused to give back the awards that Boney M won, and basically said, you guys have all got a clause in your contract that forbids you to talk to the media, to all the members of Boney M. But he is the one who outed Milli Vanilli, where he sat there with the other artists who actually sang the songs on MTV and outed them. That's the story behind Milli Vanilli, the real story. There's like I think 2 different documentaries on it you can watch. All right. So the next question is our trivia prize question. Question 10. These are the rules. Read them over if you so wish. Kind of what Smollett did to those guys. In a way, right, Cart? In a way. But it's not the first time in the industry that something like that's where someone has sang the song, somebody was the face of the song and promoted the song. And going back to the 50s to doo wop, there were quite a few popular bands where one artist would sing and record the song and then they promoted somebody else. Some of the piano music that is recorded on Jerry Lee Lewis's albums wasn't even, done by him. He had to learn the song after the fact. He just came up with the lyrics, never heard the music itself until it was recorded. I can't remember what the guy's name is, but he's a total a-hole. Oh, the lady with the coffee, Rihanna. What are rules 2 and 3, Will? Rule 2: the prize are to U.S. residents only. Banking laws forbid me to offer the prize to anyone outside of the U.S. because you have the option of either an Amazon gift card or cash, a cash equivalent, and even a small prize, according to Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and Twitch and YouTube, it's considered money laundering if I offer a cash prize to anyone outside of the U.S. And that's the U.S. 99-570-881. That's the actual law itself that they all recited. As like, nope, you can't do it. Question 3: in order for your answer to be correct, you must follow the 2 simple rules of 1A. You answer the first correctly. You're the first one to answer it, and B, the answer is complete and correct. So a lot of the questions have it'll ask for, it's got to be the complete person's name, first and last name. It can't just be, oh, that's Richard, or that's Tricky Dicky or whatever. You have to give, it would, in that case it'd be Richard Nixon would be the real answer. So all right, we've looked over the rules. Here is the question. You have 5 minutes to answer the question. Use, Google, Bing, a search engine. Ask your friend, your neighbor, your wife. Shout out the window to somebody. Anyway, I encourage you to use whatever means you have available to you to come up with the answer. There are no rules. There is no cheating. The first person to answer it wins. And here is the question. What instrument associated with bluegrass originally went out of fashion in the 1950s with country music, but made a comeback briefly in the 1970s with acid rock, only to come back again in early 2000s with hip hop and rock? Correct answer is blank, blank. 2 words. Tonight's question is worth $30. You have 5 minutes. Any guess is you never know. You might be able to guess it. What musical instrument associated with bluegrass originally went out of fashion in the 1950s with country music, but made a comeback briefly in the 1970s with acid rock, only to come back again in the early 2000s with hip hop and rock. Correct answer is blank blank. We have, so far, the guesses are steel guitar, some saxophone, and harmonica. And a string bass. Kathy, harmonica. Wondering what I do for the 5 minutes while everybody's guessing this? I stand up and stretch my back. I sit in this chair far too long every day. So I'm popping my back right now. And this is on the scale of 1 to 10, this is only a 7.25. You have 2 minutes left. My guess is for fun to Stephanie, electric piano. The baby all the Yardbirds. Yardbirds before they became Led Zeppelin. The instrument Ben Franklin invented. I don't know. What did Ben Franklin invent? I'm not aware of what Ben Franklin invented. I know he loved to play pool, which was illegal. So did Alexander Graham Bell. They all liked to play pool, but it was illegal. Pool and snookers. Kathy took your first guess. 20 seconds. It was a glass cylinder that spun around and you would put wet finger on it. Oh, okay. I think we all done that in school, didn't we? Why were they betting? All right, time is up. Time is up. Stephanie, you came closest, but the correct answer is the Janko keyboard or the Janko organ. The Janko keyboard is an alternate musical keyboard layout for pianos designed by Paul von Janko in 1882. Each chord scale and interval has a consistent shape and can be played with the same finger, regardless of its pitch or what the current key is. If you know a piece of music in one key, you can transpose it simply by starting at a different pitch because the finger is the same in every key. The Janko keyboard. You've probably heard a lot of it and probably know it more for acid rock, but it was originally, it came in popularity with bluegrass music, and then acid rock. A lot of people know it that way. Today it's used, but they use a lot of auto tune with it. So, but it's still being played, and very sparingly with some music. The most popular music in 2000s is it's featured in the background of a 50 Cent song, but electric organ. All right, question number 11. The Verve song Bittersweet Symphony sampled music, not lyrics, from which band or artist? A. David Bowie. B. Michael Jackson. C. The Rolling Stones. Or D. Pink Floyd. The Verve song Bittersweet Symphony sampled music, not lyrics, from which band or artist? David Bowie, Michael Jackson, Rolling Stones, or Pink Floyd? Mr. Frosty, Oingo Boingo is your answer. Good evening, Mr. Frosty. I hope you are doing well. Never heard of them? Okay, Stones then. Kathy, no clue. Let's put it this way. They got sued. They got sued over this one. Isn't the Verve a one-hit wonder? I don't know if they're considered a one-hit wonder, Maryland man. I don't know. I'm doing good, Mr. Frosty. Doing good. Cray 420. Welcome. Oops, that was my bad. Turn my keyboard on, it would probably work a lot better. I missed the answer to question 10. Question 10 was the Janko, or I think that's how you pronounce it, Janko keyboard or Janko organ. All right, to answer your question about is the Verve a one-hit wonder, that I guess you could consider them a one-hit wonder because Bittersweet Symphony was their only song that topped the top of the charts in the UK and in America and in other countries. But they had other songs that hit in the top 25 on BBC Radio, and Radio One, I think it is. Listeners even voted it the third best track by the band itself. But they say it defines an era. The Verve could never duplicate its success. Well, that and heroin has a lot to do with that. So, Mel Stiller, good evening. See, the Stones sued them. Still, my have my CD. So, Betty Blue, good evening. Will, I'm late. Late. Well, I missed the one altogether. I'll watch it on replay. Will. Okay. Well, so the answer to question 11 is C as in cat. The Rolling Stones. They sued them. So they believed that they had acquired the rights to use the music, and obviously, but they didn't, I guess, technically, acquire it. So the Rolling Stones sued them. They were on heroin. Well, at least the brothers were. Yes. So for all those who have never heard of them, this is the song by the Verve, Bittersweet Symphony. I'll edit this out after the stream. So. And this is the music. This is from the Rolling Stones, but this is the Verve. Can't play any more than that. Sorry. The Strolling Bones. All right, question 12. Upside Down was a hit not only in the US and the UK, but a surprise hit by Diana Ross. Where? Hint, it was in English as well. Is it A, Japan, B, Australia, C, Mexico, or D, Canada? Cray Cray, I heard of them. In 2009 was when this song was uploaded to YouTube. It does not say when on here on YouTube when it was released. It just says it was uploaded in 2009. Upside Down was a hit not only in the US and UK, but a surprise hit by Diana Ross. Where? Let's try A, Japan. That hint better not fail me. I don't know. I got off sync with the stream. Anyone get it? And turn around. Changing number 12 to B, since it's the Land Down Under. Keep on knocking things over tonight. I might need sleep. Who knows? Upside Down was a hit not only in the US and UK, but a surprise hit by Diana Ross. Where? Knows. Scary Nona. My mind works in mysterious ways. Maud Sharon. Will, I had to change my name. And your icon. Okay, so you're on the Maud Sharon instead of the other Sharon. Okay. Well, good evening and welcome to Music Trivia, Maud Sharon. It's upside down deal that can confuse an already confused person like me. I've been up since 3 a.m. No sleep for the wicked. Don't forget to give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed tonight's trivia. I would appreciate it. Upside Down was a hit not only in the US and UK, but a surprise hit by Diana Ross Ware. Mel, I've been up since 3 a.m. Actually, 2:43 this morning is when I woke up. Diana Ross Ware, the correct answer for question 12 is B as in boy, Australia. Upside Down was a hit in the US, UK, and Australia. You've been up since when? 2:40 this morning, basically. I woke up and I don't know why. It rarely ever happens to me. I wake up most mornings. I don't even own an alarm clock. I wake up at the same time every day, regardless of what day it is. Question 13, true or false? Where are we from? Where is the band AC/DC originally from Australia? What in the hell did I write there? Where are we from? Okay. Is the band AC/DC originally from Australia? I can read too. I can English. True or false? Where are we from? Is the band AC/DC originally from Australia? True or false? Well, Upside Down is the name of the song. Maybe I made it a little confusing on purpose. Jennifer's B question. The big true. Will A. I don't know, but you don't put it in the form of a question, Will. Let's chuckle together, okay? I don't know what I did there. Where are we from? Is the band AC/DC originally from Australia? True or false? Malcolm and Angus Young were born in Scotland and immigrated to Australia. But is the band from Australia? Yeah. Well, where are we from? Is the band AC/DC is originally from Australia? I don't know what I was doing. I think most of the band came from Scotland. Yes, it's true. Is the band AC/DC from Australia? I've seen AC/DC in concert 4 times. 4 times I saw them in concert in between 1982 and 90, an 8-year span there. Saw them 4 times. One of the best concerts I ever saw. Me and my friend Doug were totally bummed that we didn't get like tickets that are closer to the on the main floor and the Hubert H. Humphrey Dome to see them. I think we were like 10th or 12th row back, somewhere in there from the stage. And we were really bummed about that. We get there and there's this, so we have right on it, we're right on the aisle. I have the aisle seat. Doug is next to me to my left. Then there's this older gentleman in his 50s, and he's got these two little kids with him, probably 9, 10-ish, right in there. And the guy breaks out like a tobacco pipe and he starts smoking weed right there. And we're just like, excuse me? We've never seen that before. If someone smoke it a regular tobacco pipe. Weed pipe, yeah. Aluminum can, apple, potato. I mean, we've seen people smoke weed out of a lot of different things, but never out of an actual like real pipe tobacco. And the concert starts, and you can they're I think they're playing Thunderstruck or something like that on that tour, and from the ceiling of the Coliseum, it came down a stage and it connected up with the other one, and Angus Young was walking out doing his little a shuffle thing, and he's like 3 feet from us most of the concert, because the entire stage formed a flying V guitar, and he came all the way out to the end of the neck of the stage, would make the flying V guitar and played right there. Even if we would have gotten front row main seats, we wouldn't have been that close to the stage. But here Angus Young is playing right in front of us the entire show. What year did you go? That would have been between 82 and 90-ish. I don't, Rihanna, it's so hard to see them. Saw them 2 times. I couldn't hear when I came out of the concert. Yeah, that Willie's concert. No cigs, weed. Okay. I've seen hundreds of concerts in my life. Hundreds. The drummer wore shorts all the time. For some reason, that was odd to me. I cheated. Google says that AC/DC is an Australian band, so the answer is true. Mel, you are absolutely correct. They consider, and the band considers themselves Australian. The correct answer for question 13 is true. A. A is the correct answer. Question 14. What are the fans of the band Grateful Dead known as? A. Dancing Bearheads. B. Deadheads. C. Dirty Hippies. Or D. Dancing Queens. What are fans of the band Grateful Dead known as? But in my lifetime, I've seen a lot of great concerts, and I've seen some really, really crappy ones where either the artist was drunk and couldn't sing and couldn't play, higher than a kite. Band members were feuding with each other when they came on stage, so like either a guitarist or a drummer or someone just walked off the stage and refused to play. I've seen it all happen in my lifetime, and going to concerts. So, what are the fans of the band Grateful Dead known as? There is absolutely nothing wrong with using Google or whatever you need to. We're just playing for fun. And I encourage, on the prize question, I encourage people to use, the internet, anybody, any source they have. You got 5 minutes to come up with the answer for that one. What are the fans of the Grateful Dead known as? Mel says Inner Peace is not here. Mel's going jumping in Ghostbusters. Thank you, Mel. They're known as Ghostbusters. Who was too high to play? George Clinton. I went to go see George Clinton and the Psychedelics the second time. The first time I saw him was at the Blues Festival, and the second time I went to go see George Clinton play, he was too high. He couldn't sing. He just sat there. They gave him a microphone and a chair, and he just sat there and held the microphone basically by lap level and kind of mumbled, a little bit of his songs. Way too high to even perform. And then they helped him off the stage, and the rest of the band just played, basically elevator music for the next like 30, 40 minutes. He never came back. Went to Fleetwood Mac concert and was postponed because Stevie was too high. It happens. It definitely happens, Kathy. It definitely does. I went Hank Williams Jr. I went to go see him in concert. We all knew. I mean, there wasn't a single person in the audience who had eyes that worked, who didn't know that concert was going to be an absolute freaking disaster. He came out. He had a fifth of Jack Daniels in one hand, and they set a bar stool down in front of the microphone, and he chugged that entire fifth of Jack Daniels, and then they brought out another one and set it next to the chair. He got down like two songs, and then it was just like, and it was just like, wow. And he sat there and drank the entire time. How he never killed himself, with drinking is beyond me. What are fans of the Grateful Dead known as? I don't know, but somehow B sounds feasible. Deadheads. Fans of the band The Grateful Dead. Then I went to go see the band Husker Du, and Bob Mould was the lead singer of Husker Du at the time. Him and the guitarist got into a fist fight on the stage. They walked off. The guitarist never came back, and I guess they grabbed a roadie or something. Some other guy came out there, and he only knew like half of the songs that they were going to play in their set, so that's all he played, and they just didn't have a lead guitarist for the show. My parents named me after Fleetwood Mac song. It's not exactly, but a variant of the name on their album. Over what? A string? Don't know. I don't know what they were fighting about. But question 14, what are fans of the Grateful Dead known as? The correct answer is B, as in boy. They are known as Deadheads. Deadheads. Question 15, what band was originally known as Kern 5 and then changed it to Warsaw before settling on the name below? Was it A, Love and Rockets, B, Moon, C, B-52s, or D, Joy Division? I know beans about these bands, Will. I'm sorry, Mel. I really do. I picked them all at random. There is no rhyme or reason for. I have so many of them saved in the cloud storage. I just pick them, drag them, and then I add the photos and I try to highlight the names now of the bands so they stick out. Dancing Deb, good evening and welcome to Music Trivia. But there's no rhyme or reason to how they actually end up on the trivia. I've been asked several times to do trivia about just one particular band, and or this band or that band. A lot of people have requested either Pink Floyd or Led Zeppelin, and I might do it someday. I've definitely got. I'm sure I have at least 20 questions on each right now. Excuse me. Oh, what do you know? I guessed correctly. Well, none of us know. We just have fun and laugh. Spectacles are important to these performers. What band was originally known as the Kern Five and then changed it to Warsaw before settling on the name below? What band is this that we're looking for the name of? Maud Sharon's going with the B-52s. Please don't apologize, Will. Never apologize. Okay. Yeah, Mel. It's part of who I am though. It's kind of like asking me to not use some of the uh, verbiage, I guess. That there are things that you learn and you pick up throughout your life that are just part of who you are. Maybe you have a saying that you end a conversation with. A friend walks away, you always say, safe travels or see you, on the flip side or whatever it might be. It's just part of who I am. I apologize. I really do, mean it sincerely that people don't know the answers to the questions. I want people to have fun. I'm not trying to make these obscure as possible. Ian Curtis. Variety is what makes your life so entertaining. Well, thank you. Love you much, but keep in touch. Is that how you end when somebody walks away? Joy Division, thanks to Google. LOL, says Rihanna. Question 15. The correct answer is Joy Division. D as in dog. Joy Division were originally known as the Kern Five, but when they were the Kern Five, their lead singer left the band. Then they changed their name to Warsaw before finally settling on Joy Division when they got their recording contract. But they were the Kern Five when there were 5 members of the band. It's like asking you to not be you. To an extent, I mean it's not. It's more that I don't know that I'm saying it so much. It's just natural for me to apologize for making this more difficult than it needs to be. And and I realize that these questions are not in everyone's wheelhouse. For that I'm sorry. All right. Never heard of them? Oh, Maud, Sharon, you need to jump on YouTube. All right, question 16. Which band or artist below had a smash hit with the song Karma Chameleon? Was it A, Culture Club, B, Spandau Ballet, C, Soft Cell, or D, Tommy Two-Tone? They formed New Order after Ian Curtis died. Which band or artist below had a smash hit with the song Karma Chameleon? It's time for a rock star or a Red Bull. I'm going with Red Bull. Maybe it'll give me wings. That way I can sue the company. That's a real lawsuit. Yeah, Red Bull. It's a class action lawsuit that people filed against the company, Red Bull, because they did not get their wings from drinking Red Bull. That's the society we live in. Oh my gosh, I drank this thing. It didn't give me wings. I'm going to sue you. I have to watch my step when I participate in certain lives, but not here. You're good, Mel. You're always good. All right. Which band or artist below had a smash hit with the song Karma Chameleon? The correct answer for question 16 is Culture Club. And that is a younger picture of Boy George, who is now I think on The Voice as one of the judges. Boy George in the Culture Club. I had to drive today, Will, and I just finished my drive for the day. That's why I couldn't really participate until now because I was driving. Well, as long as you're safe, Reichart, that's all that matters. But A as in apple was the correct answer to question 16, Culture Club. Question 17 is what pop artist originally released the song Tonight, Tonight? Is it A, Jefferson Starship, B, Hot Salary, C, Jefferson Airplane, or D, Otis Redding? Even old me knows that one. Oh my gosh, I worry about those people who expect to grow wings, right? I couldn't believe there was enough of them to get together to actually form a class action lawsuit. And if you would have joined a class action lawsuit, if you would have had your receipts for all the Red Bulls that you purchased between, like, there was two certain dates when they came up with that slogan, Red Bull gives you wings, from the time when they started it to the time that they stopped using it, or that some period of time, because now they put a disclaimer in fine print on all their media. But if you would have had your receipts, you could have gotten 100% refund. Nobody got cash. The class action only sought to refund people their money for buying Red Bull and not growing wings. I love Otis Redding too. I love the sound of his voice. What pop artist originally released the song Tonight, Tonight? Did anybody? No. Well, I wish Red Bull would give me my semi some huge wings so that I could just fly and not have to drive the truck. You can't, and Stephanie can't stop singing Karma Chameleon. What pop artist originally released a song Tonight Tonight? Can't stop singing Karma Chameleon. The songs that get stuck in my head a lot of time are songs by like either Coldplay or it's not necessarily the words, but the music itself. Red, Gold, and Green, Love Culture Club. But like you hear a song and it's just like on repeat, endless loop in your mind. The songs by like Coldplay or the band Fun. Maybe it's because I hear them so much because it's my son is always listening to it. Yellow by Coldplay doesn't get stuck too. Does get stuck too? Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird. All right, question 17. What pop artist originally released the song Tonight Tonight? The correct answer is B. Hot Sally Ray. Google says Smashing Pumpkins. Tonight Tonight. Oh, Mel, I think Google let you down this time because the correct answer is B. B as in boy. Question 18. What was the only top 10 hit for the band Midnight Oil? Was it A, Sorrow, B, Ballet of Sorrow, C, Numb, or D, Beds Are Burning? We're all weird. I love being weird and being with other weird people. Well, you found the right place, Stephanie, for that. My daughter and I both love the Animals, House of the Rising Sun. She plays it because it reminds her of her dad. Oh, sorry about her not having her dad around. Did you know there's a house in New Orleans they call the House of the Rising Sun? What was the only top 10 hit for the band Midnight Oil? Reichardt's going with D. Beds Are Burning. Why will what? Why will what, Jennifer? Being weird is my greatest talent. Maud Sharon says, D. D. House of the Rising Sun. Oh, lyrics from the song. Lyrics in the song. There's a house in New Orleans called the House of the Rising Sun. Smoke 'em, drink 'em if you got 'em. House of the Rising Sun. Google is often out to lunch, Will. You ever seen the skits by college humor if Google was a person. Those are funny. All right, what was the only top 10 hit for the band Midnight Oil? The correct answer is D, as in dog. Beds Are Burning. Beds Are Burning was their only top 10 hit. Question 19. Ziggy Marley, that's Bob Marley's son, had a close group of friends who played with him most of his career. Who was his backup band? Most people only remember Ziggy Marley, but the band, they had a name. Was it A, the Melody Makers, B, the Africa Express, C, the Bomb, or D, Umgo? I think that's how you pronounce that, or Umgo? I'm not sure. I never heard of the band before. Who was Ziggy Marley's band? It's surprising. I mean, we know what his dad, it was Bob Marley and the Wailers, for a lot of years, but the Wailers were not always Bob Marley's backup band. That's his dad. But Ziggy, if you look at his face, man, he looks so much like his dad. Not exactly the same type of music. It's still reggae, but it's not exactly like his dad. He didn't copy his dad, like some people have. Just a wild guess. D, maybe B. Purple's going with D. A. Others don't sound right. Stephanie Fisher. E. The other guys. The other guys. Rihanna. A. The Melody Makers. Ziggy Marley had a close group of friends who played with him for most of his career. Who was his backup band? See, I guessed correctly. I got in a fight in high school with a guy named Ziggy. Really? Got into a fight once with a kid in middle school. His name was Matt. And for 20 some years afterwards, every time the guy saw me, he always challenged me to a rematch, like another fight. I was just like, I don't even remember what the first fight was about. Good song of his is True to Myself. Ziggy Marley had a close group of friends who played with him for most of his career. Who was his backup band? His backup band, ladies and gentlemen, was A as in Apple, the Melody Makers. The Melody Makers was a six-piece band, and they also went by several other names later on after some of them would have side projects. Tomorrow's People, Today's People, and the Melody Makers. Those are the names that they went by. But the Melody Makers, when they were performing with Ziggy Marley. Question 20. Let's do this. It's time to bring back Morrissey and the Smiths. The Smiths had a top five. The Smiths never had a top five hit anywhere in the world. Highest they ever got was number 8 on the charts. Which song was it? A. Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now. B. The Charming Man. C. The Queen is Dead. Or D. Sheila, Take a Bow. Morrissey and the Smiths. The Smiths never had a top 5 hit anywhere in the world. Highest they ever got was number 8 on the charts. Total guess. Mod. My kids named our dog Ziggy Marley. C. The Queen is Dead sounds good. Jennifer A? Question mark. A. I'd be depressed too. I was actually surprised by this question when I put it in for just how much of the of the Smiths music I listened to in the 80s. I never knew they never had a top 5 hit. Dancing Deb is going with ZC. C. The Queen is Dead. Starfire C. Question 20. Starfire, well. Hey, Reichardt, Creedence Clearwater Revival, CCR. There's a band that was loaded full of talent. CCR. Creedence Clearwater Revival. A lot of guesses on C. The Queen is Dead. What was the Smiths' highest charting hit? Question 20. The correct answer is B as in boy. The Charming Man. The Charming Man was their highest charting hit at number 8 on the UK and on the US charts. It both hit at number 8 on both charts within weeks of each other. It would never got any higher, and then it dropped off the charts about a month later. But out of the top 100, it dropped off the charts. But it did, the highest it ever got was number 8. Was bullied by a girl relentlessly. She thought that it was easy to beat me up. I'm smaller, but she ended up getting beat up after she never gave me any more problems. We actually became friends. Wow. I could not tell you if I had to sit down and I had my life depended upon it. I can't remember what me and that guy Matt got in a fight about. I mean, it was probably something really stupid. I mean, because pubescent freaking kids, you fight over stupid things. You get mad about things that have no consequences in this world at all. I mean, I know me and my sister, my older sister, we fought with each other for 30 years over the lyrics to a song by Sylvia. We both were convinced that we knew the lyrics to the song. In the end, it turned out neither of us were right. But every time we heard that song or anything else by another artist that reminded us of Sylvia, we would always bring it up. But I have no idea what me and Matt got in a fight about, and I never saw him after that. It was right around just after high school. He just disappeared. Maybe moved away. Don't know. But I used to run into him every once in a while, and it didn't matter where I was, grocery store, gas station, didn't matter where it was, wherever I'd run into him. He's like, fight me again. And I'm like, no, I have no idea what the hell the first fight was about. Why would you want to do this again? Don't mind a person doesn't agree with me. Woke up to them every day. That's how to handle a bully. They are cowards at heart. Way to go. Smaller or shorter people sometimes are good fighters. A lot of times. It's like Dark to My Eyes by Jackson Browne. That sounds like fun. Sibling rivalry. Yeah. But neither one of us were right in the end. I think we were both in our 30s. Well, I was in my 30s and she was like in her late 30s. And we finally, got somebody gave us they were tired of us arguing about it, and they handed us like one of those lyric sheets that they printed off the internet, of the words to the song, and we're handed her a copy and me a copy, and we're like, oh man, I was wrong, and she's like, I was wrong too. we weren't even close, but I mean, it was like one of those. I don't know why we did it. We just did argue about a song that that has no consequences to our lives at all. We were just stubborn and we didn't want to admit that we were wrong. I went home and cried because I didn't like hurting her. I cried all night long. My sisters and I would wrestle a lot. We broke 2 beds. You're off to dreamland, Purple. You have a good night, and thank you for stopping in tonight, Purple. Really appreciate you being here. Don't forget to give this a thumbs up, the stream a thumbs up if you liked it. I'd appreciate it if everybody would. Young and dumb, Will. Young and dumb. Yeah. The only real physical altercation like that I ever had. I mean, I've been in other fights, and stuff like that. Bar fights, dumbass people think that they get those with beer muscles. Just makes me roll my eyes thinking about it. I used to hang out at this country bar that I worked at the hotel, and they had a country bar inside of it, and I'd stop in there after work and have a beer before going home sometimes, and people in there would just pick fights about the dumbest things. You looked at my girl, whatever. Beat somebody up over looking at somebody, you got a problem. You obviously have a shortcoming, and it's not one that we can easily see. Everyone have a good night, and have a good upcoming week. You too, Rihanna, and thank you. Rotary Dial. Good evening, Rotary Dial. Keep families interesting. Yeah, they do. It's amazing. Growing up I had 4 sisters, 2 older, 2 younger. I'm middle child between those 5, because it actually goes brother, 2 sisters, me, and then 2 sisters. But my brother is 18 years older than me, and it's just growing up with four women, four, plus my mom, five. It was it was an interesting time, a very interesting time. Learn when to bite your lip and just don't say anything. Just shut up. Drunk people are difficult to deal with to a point. To a point, Rihanna. Yeah, I got used to it though. I used to bartend when I was younger, and some people they just get hot headed when they drink, and everything's an insult to them. But if you use enough psychology, you can figure out how to change things around, or move them on to something else, instead of what's making them mad. But some people are just hotheads, and you add alcohol, it's like dumping fuel on the fire. Well, were your older siblings like parents? No, not really. I mean, I definitely learned a lot from my older sister. Uh, it was just and then as they got older and they left the home, because my sisters, both of them graduated and they moved on. Then it kind of left me in the position of the parent for my two younger siblings. Some just can't handle their booze. That's absolutely true. Live and learn, Will. Live and learn. Yeah, it is true. Absolutely true, Reichart. Good night, Mel. Well, or Mel, whoever has to leave. Yeah, there are a lot of people out there. We look at today's society, the world, the history of the world. You know, alcohol has killed, and destroyed a lot of lives, a lot. And there are people that should never, consume alcohol at all. I mean, obviously there are people with, who have problems with, with drinking, but then there are people who, you add, just one drink or two drinks to, they're not drunk, but they just lose all common sense, just goes out the window. When you're young and foolish, you're the most foolish, mostly foolish. Rihanna, I'm an only child. Parents divorced and married people who don't have kids, so I don't have step siblings either. Yeah, I always felt bad for people, and not you in particular, Reichart, but those who have CDLs, and it, people who can make a mistake, they'll get behind the wheel of a car and get a DUI, and it's twice as bad for somebody with a CDL, at least in my state. You get a DUI in my state, you're screwed if you have a CDL. I used to work for my buddy. He used to, well, quite a few years back now. Oh, geez, 17, 18 years ago. He used to own a chemical company. We made fertilizer and stuff like that. But we had a guy that been with a company 4 or 5 years, and he used to deliver liquid fertilizer to farms, and then he'd offload it and then have to drive it back. But he had to have a CDL. He wasn't driving like a semi. He had to have a CDL because of the truck had fixed containers. He had to have a hazmat endorsement and all this other shit along with the CDL. But he got a DUI, and they could not keep him on anymore as a driver after 5 years of impeccable service. It's kind of like insurance company won't let us keep you anymore. And that sucked to watch somebody who made one simple mistake his entire life get, burned like that. Wine and Ambien is a popular combo these days. Is it? Well, that's just dumb. Ambien, really? Yep. Well, I know. Don't drink and drive ever. Me and my friends, we like to cut loose, and we'll sit here in this studio, and we'll have some beers, or we'll work on a car or something, but nobody ever drives. We always make sure that that everybody either has an Uber, home. We take their keys from them, or we just don't let anybody go anywhere. When Tim comes into town and we go someplace, if we're drinking, we always use Uber or Lyft. Not so much Lyft anymore because I think they're leaving this area where we're at. That and they always add a premium to it because I live so far outside of town. They want to add a premium to it. And I'm like, why? Why don't you just charge the same per mile just because there's no houses around? Why does it have to be a premium? But people make mistakes, and they shouldn't have to lose their entire livelihood and everything else because of a mistake. But I understand at the same time, don't drive when you're buzzed, don't drive when you're drunk. People just don't think sometimes. They make mistakes. Even if you're not working and you're driving your own vehicle, you can still be in trouble with your CDL. That sounds unfair. Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, he eventually landed on his feet, but it messed up his life for about 2.5 years. He eventually became a tow truck driver, and then he bought a repo company, and that's what he's doing now. But it's a far different from he had a set schedule and local deliveries only. He was home every night. But for a couple of years there, it definitely messed up his life. So, but now he's the repo man. Don't pay your car note, he's going to come get you, get your stuff. Ambien is a weird drug. It's been years since I've had it prescribed. I was too worried. I ended up driving while I'm sleeping or walking down the street in my night clothes. LOL. Alcohol consumption ruins countless lives. It does. It does. That's the thing that so many people are like, they who are against, people who smoke marijuana. They're like, oh, that guy smokes marijuana. It's bad. He's a drug addict. That's a drug. It's a gateway drug. I know people who smoke weed who've never, it's never been a gateway drug to them. They never went on and used cocaine and heroin or anything else. They smoke a little bit on the weekends and that's about it. But it's never been a gateway drug for a lot of people. And marijuana doesn't destroy lives, as fast and as much as alcohol has. But you got to look at where the money comes from. Money is the root of all evil, and when we set all the laws up, we're like, they couldn't make any money off the marijuana. They didn't know how to tax it. That's why we scheduled it as a drug and made it illegal and destroyed lives over it, because only the poor and the downtrodden and certain ethnic groups smoked it more. So punish them, punish them, punish them, punish them. I like wine, says Betty Blue. Calling a gateway drug was propaganda. It was. It was very much propaganda. First drug czar who had the marijuana listed in the same schedule as other drugs did it because he did not like the fact that Migrant farmers smoked it in their off time, and the farmers couldn't figure out how to tax it, control it, and be able to sell it and make money off it. If it grew wild out in the bushes someplace, somebody could plant it. Whereas if you sold a pint of alcohol in the store, you knew how you're going to make money on it. You knew the taxes. You knew where it all was coming from. So I like bourbon too. One whiskey, one scotch, one beer. The devil's lettuce. I mean, I'm not saying that that marijuana is for anybody or for everybody. I'm just when it comes to alcohol, alcohol has destroyed and killed more people than anything else. Well, next to religion. Religion has definitely killed a lot of people. They like to punish the poor, punish the poor. Yes. Betty Blue, says that she likes wine. I like some wines, but no, my taste in wine and my wife's taste in wine are completely different. My wife likes more of like white or like a what do they call it? A late harvest Riesling, stuff like that, or an ice wine that are just way too sweet for me. I'm more of like I like more like the red, sometimes blush, or rosé, but nowhere. I mean, we're polar opposites on that. And same thing for beers too. She likes more of like the stout, or the Hefeweizens, and I'm more of a pilsner. So we've got different tastes, different tastes for different people. If you're seeing this screen flicker, it's because I'm losing service because I turned off the booster. So we're probably going to lose the signal here if we don't lose it completely. I can't use marijuana because I don't like how it makes me feel, but I've always been against it being illegal. Red wine. UB40. There's a band that hasn't been on the trivia lately. I should probably get some UB40 questions in here. And I'm sorry that there wasn't any country questions on here tonight. I thought for sure there was. I'll make an actual effort to make sure that I get some country and something that's not so much pop. Because I noticed that a lot of the questions tonight were definitely more towards pop than before. So, but anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up there. Thank you again, everybody, for joining tonight, and give this a thumbs up if you haven't already. I appreciate it. And everyone, I hope you all have a safe week ahead. Now, don't forget, over the course of the next couple of weeks, you're going to see some changes with the content that I'm putting out on this channel. Um, we haven't made any decisions yet. We're going to sit down and go over everything this week on what's performing, what people like, what they don't like, and then we're going to take a look at it before we make any decisions. We're not going to make any rash decisions on, oh, this content's all going away. But we're going to let the numbers tell us exactly what everybody has been enjoying and what they haven't done before we make any decisions. So, but the first thing that we definitely stopped is Patreon. in channel membership live streams. That has just been an absolute failure for well over a year now. I've gotten a couple, people here and there to join each stream. Otherwise, it's like for 2 hours, it's just me looking at, that black camera sitting on the tripod there. But that was the first decision we made. That was an easy one. When you only get 20 people to show up on live streams total in 12 months, pretty easy to assume not going so well. But anyways, everyone, thank you again for being here. I really appreciate everyone being here, and I hope you had fun tonight. I hope we'll see you all again soon. Take care. Am I doing a poll, Rihanna? The only way to do a poll on YouTube is to open it up to people who are not members and who never watched my content, because it shows up on the suggested because of postings. So I stopped doing them because I noticed that a lot of people who have never seen my channel or my content before were answering the polls and skewing the information in one direction or another. You might, if you've been around for a while, you might have seen like, a D option or an E option on some of those polls where don't like your content, wish you would go away. It's always been like one or something varied to that. It's always been like either letter D or E on those polls. Why would you watch my content if you don't want me to be here, if you want me to go away? It's kind of a trap for people who are not watching your content. But anyways, everyone, thank you again.